Hello there! How about we take a look at the new war map, Operation Supercharge. I was considering skipping this altogether, cause correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there aren't many people out there desperately wanting war guides. Or I could be projecting, because these days I mostly only play shipment to get daily orders done, but I figured I could make this video dual purpose. Before taking a look at Supercharge, we gotta spend a little time talking about the role Cavalry plays in war, cause it's a big deal. That shield has shaken up the war meta so much, for so many objective types, and I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of the change, mostly. Like, I know lots of people have their complaints about the shield, just in general, I wouldn't consider myself one of those people. Like, for somebody using a shield in TDM, there are plenty of ways to counter it, but in war, there are so many objectives that involve defenders shooting at attackers who are at a distance, and the shield completely stops that. It forces you to go to them, or for you to have a really accurate bazooka shot, but then for that, you'd have to have specific shield counters built into all your classes, which I'd rather not do if I want to be doing some weapon challenges or contracts or whatever. Let's take a look at a couple of objectives that are completely changed. You've already been watching how it made capturing a hardpoint-like objective a little easier, but both teams can be messing around with shields for objectives like that. One big change is what I already mentioned briefly in the video breaking down Cavalry and the 3 new trainings, protecting bridge builders. Just playing this Guardian Angel role with smoke concealment plus shield hunker cover. Even better if you have more people with shields. This section of the map goes from what was a fun time to break out the snipers as a defender to just no contest. It's easier to get shot in the sides when you get to building at the 50% point, but I just don't like what shields have done to this part of the map, because you have to play both sides obviously, and as a defender you can still pick off other snipers and people when they start building, but it used to be a fun time to rack up kills in a mode where deaths don't matter, to playing these constant shield games, wasting time. And that time wasting becomes a big deal for bomb planting type objectives. No longer is it straightforward to clear out an area to plant or defuse a bomb. Some shield guys could be hanging out in the corner and you have to deal with them before you can try to defuse. And then there's every tank escort objective, which I guess doesn't change as much because hiding behind the tank has always been somewhat like a shield, but when you've got shielders mixed in there, it becomes so much harder to clear people off the tanks, especially at the end of Griffin, for example. All you have to do is face that main flank route, and in general, there's a lot of tank escorting in war where you have to deal with this. And one more massive change that's on the level of the bridge building is Neptune, and I'm on the fence about this being good or bad. I'll miss the days of racking up ridiculously easy, unstoppable kill streaks when everybody sucked at this section, but these days I avoid playing Neptune because this starting section can be so boring, and I'd rather be doing weapon challenges, so maybe this is a good change. But like it or not, now with a shield, if you play your angles right, there is once again no contest. It turns out storming the beaches of Normandy becomes a lot easier when you have a magic big old shield capable of soaking up infinite damage from the thousands of 792 Mauser rounds flying at your face. I was using this inconspicuous class for the quick crouched movement speed, and a combat shotgun for clearing out the bunkers. I consider the M30 to be the best shotgun, but only if you can throw on fire shells plus advanced rifling, combined with either hustle or escalation, but the combat shotgun is great just by itself. This was the first game of Neptune I've played in a very long time actually, and it went very well. In fact, I never died. First of all, you have to watch the sticky nade throw that deflects off his frag grenade in mid-air. Don't know if I've seen that before. Anyway, you'll see in a moment the first kill I get is with the quick swap trick I talked about last time. The shield made it very easy to get in there, and the combat shotgun in those bunkers is very good. So that was a fun game, but in general I said I wasn't a big fan of the war meta change that the shield has brought. I don't think it's horribly balanced or that there's no fun to it. I just had more fun when war was about lots of kills, lots of deaths, none of it matters, people rushing objectives, and now the more shields there are, the slower the pace is. Hitting somebody's shield and trying to work around it for a long time just to win one long gunfight isn't very rewarding. I like gunfights where you win or lose and you move on, not the shield mind games. But I also know it's more prevalent right now with it being new, and with it being a division to rank up. We've been getting double division XP in war. I'm sure if Cavalry was in the game from the start, I would have no problem with it. And like I said before, I mostly play shipment these days anyway, so I'm not overly concerned with the war metagame. But there are some thoughts I had about it, and if you hadn't thought to use the shield in some of those ways, enjoy trying out some of those strategies. Now, let's do a run through of Operation Overcharge. I wouldn't say I have any groundbreaking tips and tricks, hence why I thought I might just skip it this time. But hey, it's a pretty cool map, we should go through it, at least for anybody who doesn't have access to it yet. It starts off with the unique airdrop into the map, where on both sides you can take shots at each other. As a defender, despite the intro making it look like the attackers are already dropping in, that isn't actually true. Like any other war map, the defenders spawn in first, and the attackers do not spawn until the time appears in the bottom left, and the announcer says something. So you have some time to position yourself and take shots at the guys dropping in. Not like that helps the team in any way, but whatever, you may as well. I usually grab the trusty PTRS for the one-shot kill anywhere in the body, and collect some easy kills, that's always fun. Then begins the actual objective, the crates that airdrop into the map. The attackers have to capture 3 of them. It doesn't matter how many of the crates don't get captured and just expire on the ground after 30 seconds. As soon as one goes away, another one will fall from the sky. All that matters is how much time is left on the clock. So anything you can do as a defender to keep them contested or keep people distracted is a good thing. Maybe with your own shield class, you likely have many attackers with shields to go up against. So good to have some sticky grenades on hand, maybe even a launcher on your back. Just burn as much time as you can. You'll have the best chance at holding the second and third crates, since as the attackers capture crates, the drop locations get a bit closer to the defender spawns. As an attacker in this part, you can take part in the same little shoot-off at the beginning. The red names make people easy to locate so that you actually have a chance. You can also try to hold a shield in front of you as you drop. I thought I should try that out, but your legs can still get shot, and what's the point? Deaths don't matter, and if anything, getting shot just means you'll spawn on the ground faster, so you may as well shoot back. Shield classes, Hunker, and Smokes are all good things for capturing crates. If the first one lands in the fountain or right in front of it, that's usually tough to get since everyone's focused on it. I'm a fan of the spot on the roof for getting the first crate. The locations for crate drops are fixed, but they aren't in a fixed order like hardpoints, so you'll get used to where it can go, but you can't get set up too far in advance. You do want to be shooting down the crates. I think that's a fairly intuitive thing to try. They work just like care packages. Shoot the parachutes and they'll drop much faster. As an attacker, there's really no downside to getting it down on the ground as fast as possible. Even if you don't have great map control of where it's landing, may as well get it on the ground so you have a chance at getting it. If it expires, no big deal, another one will spawn right away and you can shoot that down too. Time that the crates are in the air is only helping defenders. The only time you might not want to shoot it down right away is if you're in overtime. The overtime clock only counts down when there is a crate decaying on the ground. If it's in the air, or of course if you're mid-capture, the timer will be paused. So if you play it smart, you could capture all 3 crates in overtime, but if it went to overtime and you didn't get a single crate, that's a bad sign. Anyway, if it's in overtime, try to control the area where it's landing before shooting it down, or don't shoot it at all. Let's move on to the next stage then, which is an odd one. There are so many things you can build and destroy. As a defender, there are walls and defensive MG towers. As an attacker, you can destroy those walls or build a bunch of ladders to get over the walls, which the defenders can then plant bombs on. Or guess what? As an attacker, you can just ignore all that completely, because there are also sections of the bridge where you can just walk through to the other side, and there is no wall you can build to block it off. So it seems like there's barely a point to building all that junk. The only reason to build it is if you have the Cavalry fast build and you want to farm the score, which I suppose is a good reason, but otherwise it doesn't seem to be worth the time when they can just climb over with their ladders or walk through the parts where there is no wall. You're better off just guarding the bomb sites and not dying mid-build. Other than all the buildables, this is a fairly standard bomb planting objective, short 20-second timers with 4 locations to destroy, and it is pretty cool that after each bomb goes off, the map changes as big chunks of the bridge crumble off and block some pathways, but you can still get around fairly easily. Smokes can once again be nice for planting as an attacker, and as a defender, shields work pretty well. I found it easy to lock down one side of the map by just hanging out up on a wall with a shield. I don't know if people keep ignoring me or actually don't notice me, but either way, it's easy to watch the battlefield while protected and swap to something to take them out. But there are so many ways to get to the bombs. Overall, I find this to be a difficult objective to hold for the entire time. Let's keep it going to the final objective, and another unique one for this map, raising a bunch of flags in a row. It's not like Dom where you stand around the flag, you do have to do a building action like building the bridge. I guess you could compare this to Advanced Warfare's Momentum, which of course was based on World at War's War Mode, so we've got some warception going on here. It's a fun objective that I don't have a whole lot to say about, except for how impossible it is to hold as a defender early on because of the respawn location. My god, as soon as you die once, you respawn spawn in Europe and you have to make the trek back to Africa, what the hell is this spawn location? It is 3 flags back. Defenders already have a spawn delay in war while attackers come right back to help with the balance, so you don't need to put us way back here. Of course you should defend the first flag to burn as much time as you can, but when you die, you may as well just give up on that flag and start building your defenses for the next one. It isn't until the very end where I like the balance. Some pretty intense fighting can go down around this final flag, and I'm very proud of the 99% win we got one time, but I do feel like this strongly favors attackers, at least in all the matches I've played. It seems like the first objective with the crates is the hardest one to get through, and if you can do that, you go all the way, but that's obviously not a hard and fast rule. One final thing I haven't mentioned yet, there are boxes of Molotovs like the ones found on Husky all over this map for both teams in different areas. They'll be highlighted and near your spawn. Those definitely make for easy shield counters, and that's how I'd use them. Just grab one and keep it in your pocket until you're in a shield standoff. So that's the lowdown on Operation Supercharge. I did go through it quickly because I feel kind of silly repeating stuff from previous war guides or just talking generically about the map layout. I don't think you really need to hear it. In terms of class building, the current meta seems like it's defined by smokes and shields and shield counters, but you can really use whatever you want. Hope that was a fun little preview of the map, at least if you don't have it yet. If you want my updated subjective what maps I like rating, it would look something like this. Breakout still number 1 despite the best part of the bridge being a bit more annoying now. Griffin is solid, and then the Supercharge Intercept I'm not sure about. I like all the building XP with Cavalry on Supercharge in the second section, and I think I like it more because it's new. I might like the overall balance of Intercept more though. And then Neptune is now less annoying with the shields, I think. Just get that first section over with faster. And then there's Husky, because I'm not interested in the dogfight at all. I can appreciate the uniqueness, but the replay value ain't there for me. So Supercharge, I think, is a solid addition at least. You can let me know what you think about it, having either played it or just seen what it's about. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.